بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي يا رب بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and peace and blessings be upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and all of the prophets and messengers and his family and his companions, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Inshallah, just before we proceed, just to clarify, the intention of these gatherings and these lessons today are to increase our knowledge and understanding of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in order to, ultimately, the purpose of that is to increase in love for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and ittiba', following of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the purpose of that is so that we may become true worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and people whom Allah loves. Everybody wants Allah to love them. Everybody wants Allah to have mercy upon them and to have rahmah and forgiveness upon them. And the only way that you can achieve that is by reflecting the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The more of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah sees in you, the more beloved you are to Him. It's a simple formula. Simple formula. The more of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in you, in your appearance, like we just heard from Imam Khalid hafidhahullah, in your character, as we're going to hear from Imam Khalid hafidhahullah, in your dealings with people, in your mu'amalat, in your ibadah, in your speech, in your walking, in your talking, the more of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that reflects from you, the closer you are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Simply, that's the equation of life. Yeah. So the whole purpose of these sessions are the more that we can get from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These are like treasures. Yeah. And people should be sat here. One point that was mentioned by Imam Khalid hafidhahullah is greater than, about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One point is greater in worth than all of the gold in all of the banks of Switzerland put together. Yeah. If you look at the Sahaba al-Kiram, what sacrifices they went through just to get one hadith. Some of them travelled all the way from Madinatul Munawwarah all the way to Egypt just to verify one hadith. Not even to get a new hadith. He had a narration of the hadith. The other Sahabi that was left alive, that had heard the same hadith, was in Egypt. He travelled all the way there. He stopped, he heard the hadith, he came all the way back. Didn't even stop for anything else. That's what sacrifices they went through for one hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Now we have books, we have, mashallah, we have scholars who travel to us to teach us. So when we are sitting here, imagine that pearls and jewels are being thrown at you. Now it's up to you if you want to take them or not. You can leave them here if you wish. Or you can take them with you and carry them and make them a part of you. You can beautify yourself. This is spiritual jewelry. Men are not allowed jewelry in Islam. We're not allowed jewelry, not allowed gold. We're not allowed excessive silver jewelry. You're allowed one silver ring in Islam according to the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. Yeah, that's what we're allowed. But spiritual jewelry, our beauty is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's our beauty. He's our jamal. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And so please, may Allah reward those who have facilitated these gatherings. Please take away every part of the life of the Prophet ﷺ that you take away today and that you implement and that you carry with you for the rest of your life and share it with your family. You have just improved the state of the ummah. Just by you changing once, you may think it's one small thing, but in the sight of Allah, everything about the Prophet ﷺ is great. There's nothing small about the Prophet ﷺ. Single strand of his hair, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Sahaba, they would battle almost over each other just to get one hair of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One drop of the wudu of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the Sahaba used to climb over each other and try and dive to catch the water of the wudu of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That which we consider in fiqh, you cannot use. Yeah, water. If I make wudu, the water that comes off, you cannot use that for wudu. It's not pure for you. It's not clean for you. But the water that came off the Prophet ﷺ, how the Sahaba used to behave. They used to climb over each other to get that water. So every single aspect of the Prophet ﷺ is great, is lofty, is immense. And so we try and take that and we try and implement that in our lives. And the more that we do, the more that we increase in understanding of the Prophet ﷺ, the greater the state of the Ummah. The Ummah is in a difficult situation right now. Whether we're looking at Africa, yeah, I'm guessing the majority of you look like you're from Somalia. Yeah, we have brothers from Pakistan, we have people from India, we have, I'm assuming some people from here, from Switzerland, wherever you may be from. But wherever you are, yeah, you recognize that the Ummah is in a difficult situation. The Ummah in Somalia is in a difficult situation. In China, in Syria, in Yemen. You turn to every single country in the globe right now. Pakistan, mushkil, problem. What's the reason? What's the reason? Because people identify themselves first by their nationality before they identify themselves by their religion. Yeah? People say what? I am a Pakistani Muslim. Pakistani before I'm Muslim. I am a British Muslim. No, we've got it wrong. You are a Muslim. These divisions of Somalia and Pakistan and India and Afghanistan, it's bid'ah. Wasn't there in the time of the Prophet ﷺ? Yeah. We didn't have this. Nobody thought they were better than somebody else because of the country they were from. Look at the Sahaba of the Prophet ﷺ, all of them equal. Sayyidina Bilal al-Habashi, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq al-Qurayshi, Sayyidina Salman al-Farisi, Sayyidina Suhaib al-Rumi. Look at them. All of these people, different places. But when it came to the Prophet ﷺ, their rank was according to their Islam. That's how it was. So what we need to do is we need to turn back to Allah and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. This is where we have fallen. Yeah. And please, these gatherings, I want them to be open. There will be time for question and answer. But if you disagree with something, please put your hand up and tell me if you disagree. Yeah. Are Muslims in a bad situation because we don't have money? No. There's more money in the Middle East than anywhere else in the world. Oil, Africa, gold, jewels, whatever it is, diamonds. Yeah? Muslims have, mashallah, wealth is not an issue. Yeah? Is it our numbers? Are we less in numbers? No. 2 billion Muslims and rising. Issue is in numbers. Yeah? Is it control of lands? No, there's probably more countries that have an association with Islam than any other country has with any other religion. If you look at Hinduism, what is it? India. If you look at Sikhism, India. If you look at Christianity, certain areas of the Western world, most of them are all secular. They don't classify themselves as Christian countries. Islam, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Tunisia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Yemen, Oman, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Indonesia, Islam, Chechnya, Islam. Political control we have. Where is the issue then? Why are we in the situation that we are in? Why? The answer is in the saying of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he says, Allah has given us izzah. He has raised us by Islam. Not by wealth. Not by lineage, not by numbers, not by strength. Our izzah is by Islam. And he says, if we seek izzah and respect and esteem by anything other than Islam, then Allah will destroy us and abase us and embarrass us. If we turn to nationality, if we turn to wealth, if we turn to political power, materialism, if we think that is more important than Islam, then Allah will embarrass us and He will destroy us, make us the weakest of people. So the reason for our state and our situation is because our lack of love and esteem and respect and following of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I mean that in a practical, real sense. Saying it with our words is not enough. It's not enough. Yeah. Showing it when you're in those difficult situations. Showing it when you don't have much money and you have the chance to sell alcohol. And you say, no, this is not the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Showing it when people mistreat you and disrespect you, and instead of shouting and getting angry and getting physically violent, you hold your tongue and you are gentle with those people and you are forgiving with those people. Showing it by the way that we treat and give attention to our family, the way that we treat our children, our daughters, our wives, our parents. That's Islam. Yeah? Saying Allahu Akbar and making loud statements, that doesn't benefit anybody. That's not what Islam needs. Islam lives through the actions of its followers. Standing for Salah, Fajr, Isha, missing those Salahs is the sign of hypocrites, Munafiqeen. Coming to pray Salah, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, Fajr, praying those Salahs, that is Islam. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? We have a lot of political movements who try and analyze why the Ummah is in its situation. And some people think that we need to become leaders and we need to control parliament and we need to take control of countries. We need to establish an Islamic state. That's what they think. The Prophet ﷺ gave us the solution. He said, "As-salatu imadu din. فَمَنْ أَقَامَهَا فَقَدْ أَقَامَ الدِّينَ وَمَنْ تَرَكَهَا فَقَدْ هَدَمَ الدِّينَ." As-salah is the pillar of this religion. This pillar right now you can see. The Prophet ﷺ said, Salah is the pillar of this religion. In other words, Salah, the religion is resting upon Salah. فَمَنْ أَقَامَهَا فَقَدْ أَقَامَ الدِّينَ. He said, whoever establishes the Salah has established Islam. He didn't say he's established himself. He's established his connection with Allah. He's established وَمَنْ تَرَكَهَا فَقَدْ هَدَمَ الدِّينَ. He didn't say هَدَمْ نَفْسَهُ. He says whoever leaves Salah has destroyed this religion. He didn't say he's destroyed himself. He's destroyed this religion. So it shows that when we learn about Islam, that Islam is there to be lived, not just to be listened to. It's not in pictures. We just put up a profile on our phones, a background picture, and we put up a poster in our houses and we think, Alhamdulillah, I've done my bit for Islam. Islam is the only religion that is a complete way of life. Everything. The way you go to the bathroom, the way you sleep, the way you behave with your family, the clothes that you wear, the way you go into your house, out your house, the food that you eat, the water that you drink or the drink that you drink, the way you walk on this earth, the way you treat your enemies, your neighbors, animals, plants. Everything is Islam for the Muslim. Everything. For every other religion, no, it's just when you're in the church or when you're in the temple, when you're in the synagogue, that's your religion. When you come out, do what you want. No, not Muslims. Everything, every breath that you take is Islam. And what we need to do is bring our lives in line with Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We need to stand behind the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imam Malik calls his book the Muwatta, that great book. And especially people from Africa should know the Muwatta. It's your madhab. Imam Malik. Imam Ahl al-Madina. La yufta fil Madina wa Imam Malik fi. Imam Malik, the great lover of the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he used to give a dars in Masjid al-Nabawi al-Sharif, he used to have ghusl. He used to wear fresh clothes, perfume himself, and burn oud every single time, without exception. And he used to deliver lessons in Madinatul Munawwarah. His book is called the Muwatta. What does Muwatta mean? The trodden path. In other words, the footsteps of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where he placed his feet, that's where we place ours. Wherever he walked, that's where we walk. Wherever he did, that's what we do. And that's our ultimate izzah. People have tried every other way of life. It's failed them. Muslims tried in their countries to implement democracy. Look at the state of it. Look at the state of those countries that have implemented capitalism, socialism, communism. All of this, it's in a mess. The only solution that has been proven in history, tried and tested, not just theory, tried and tested, is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Him. Look at Madinatul Munawwarah. Look at the blueprint of Madinatul Munawwarah. So if we have that example in our personal life, in our family life, in our financial life, in our physical health life, like we heard from Imam Khalid Hafidullah, why would we be stupid enough to follow anybody else? Why? لماذا? And it's like we're in ghafla. It's like we haven't realized. We're just following all these film stars, football stars, politicians, whatever we see on adverts. We're like zombies. We just watch and we've just, in a trance, we've been programmed by TV programs. That's why they're called programs. And we've just followed now. And we've just fallen in line with that. It's like somebody's put a spell on us. When we have what? The greatest treasure, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Greatest treasure, seriously. Nobody greater than him. And the way of the people of the past of victory, people like Sayyidina Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, people like to mention Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een, all of these great, Muhammad al-Fatih, rahmatullah alayhi, all of these great individuals who had victory, read their lives. They were fana fi Rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Without a shadow of a doubt. You find one of them who was not immersed in the love of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's crazy about the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Absolutely in love with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Every single one without exception. There is not a leader of the Muslims in history that was given victory by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except that his first quality that you will see is that he loved the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Loved him, followed him, absolutely immersed in the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is the source of victory. So we will be going through 3 more 45-minute sessions. The next one that we will go through is the family life of the Prophet ﷺ. How was he with his family? Imam Khalid Hafidhahullah mentioned the physical description of the Prophet ﷺ. And this was a treasure, especially in Turkey, especially when the Haramain al-Sharifain was in control by the Ottoman Empire. There was a whole genre of art that was set up, and that was the Hilya al-Sharif. And what they would do is they would write the hilya of the Prophet ﷺ in beautiful calligraphy and decorate it with flowers and gold and silver. Even now in Masjid al-Nabawi al-Sharif, if you look where the Ashab al-Sufa used to sit, if you're sat there behind the Hujra al-Sharif of the Prophet ﷺ, if you look to the left, you will see a hilya al-Sharif of the Prophet ﷺ. People used to decorate their houses with the hilya al-Sharif of the Prophet ﷺ, and they used to beautify and purify their hearts by memorizing it. It's not just hanging it on your wall. The children would memorize the hilya al-Sharif of the Prophet ﷺ. That's what. So it would be hung on the wall and it would be inscribed in the heart. That's what the hilya al-Sharif used to be. And so this became a whole genre of art now. They used to, different people would describe it and decorate it in different ways. You will have seen it. It's like a big circle in the middle, and on the top you have the name of Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar. At the bottom, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Ali, Karamallahu Wajhal Kareem. In different versions, names of the Ahl al-Bayt of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Sayyidina Fatima radiyallahu anha, Sayyidina Imam Hassan, Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiyallahu anhuma. That would also be included in that. So we've gone through the description of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is so that whenever you come across any beauty, come across any beauty, because beauty can be a distraction. Whether it's the person of the opposite gender, whether it's a nice car, whether it's gold, whether it's jewelry, whether it's any of those kind of things, whether it's beautiful perfume, whether it's a beautiful house, we get distracted. But if you have in your heart Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there's nothing that compares to his beauty sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You will not, he is a protection from being lost in the beauty of this dunya. Because it's a mirage. It's a trick of the eye. Yeah. What is a Lamborghini? What is a Mercedes or a BMW or a Ferrari? It's just a piece of metal shaped in a particular way. That's all it is. It's no different. Has 4 wheels, gets you from one place to another just like a Toyota does. Just like why are people fascinated by a Lamborghini or Ferrari or something else? Why? It's just a trick of the eye. Just the metal is shaped in a particular different way now. It's been given a higher price tag. Now all of a sudden people want that. Armani, Gucci, Boss, whatever it is. What is it? What's so special about it? Covers your awra, covers your body. Why are we so lost in these names, and the dunya is lost in these names? Being tricked by marketeers. These people study human beings. They study you and I. And they look at how we can make you into a customer, consumer. How can we get this person to spend his hard-earned money and make him buy a pair of jeans for £200 now, 200 euros, instead of similar one for 20 euros, £20. What can we do to make them do that? So people have become tricked by the dunya, deluded by the dunya, ghurur, lost. But what is the way of the way of the people of the past was Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is aslul jamal. He is the origin of every beauty sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it's like him, then it's beautiful. If it's not like him, it's not beautiful. He is the standard sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the standard, not some model on TV. For the brothers is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Ali karamallahu wajhul kareem, and the Sahaba al-Kiram. For our sisters, Sayyidina Khadija, Sayyidina Fatima, Sayyidatuna Aisha, Sayyidatuna Maryam alayhim as-salam. We don't need models on TVs to show our women how to behave and dress. Yeah? Look at the gift that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave us in the form of these great, immense human beings. That's who we need to follow. But we cannot follow them if we don't know them. You cannot be woken from your sleep if you do not become acquainted with these great individuals. If you don't know about them, you will remain in ghafla for the rest of your life. You will be asleep. You will be in this trance. You will be hypnotized. Yeah. Literally, there was a piece of research done by a German scholar. And what he did was he put a camera behind a TV and he took pictures of children watching TV. Every single one of them is like this. 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Kids are just like this. Hypnotized. Mothers calling them for food. Hypnotized. Computer games, hypnotized. Our children are hypnotized, aren't they? I'd like us, put your hand up if you disagree, please. This is the state that we find ourselves in. We ourselves, adults, smartphones, hypnotized. We're like this. Number of accidents in America, something like 500 accidents. Some critical. People who've walked into pillars, walked into lakes and rivers. Yeah? Some people have driven their cars into water because they're following their phone. Sat nav. Khalas, blindly just following it. They could see water there, but no, smartphone says drive there, so they drove into the river. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Seriously. Some of us in the masjid, and we're still like this. This is the Imam. This is the state. And so, how can we wake up from that? How can we stop? Because the whole of the dunya is going towards a particular way of life. And that's smartphones, iPads, that's buying fancy clothes and taking out loans and buying bigger houses and buying cars and spending more money than you earn. The whole dunya is going, that's capitalism. It's taking the whole dunya is going that way. And that is the way of Jahannam. Because the Prophet ﷺ says hellfire is surrounded by desires. You know when you follow your desires, that is the trench that leads you to hellfire, Jahannam. And paradise is surrounded by difficulties. When you find something difficult and it's good for you, that's the way to Jannah. Eat healthy food. Difficult. Most people, they prefer fish and burger and chips. Easy. Nice. That kind of food that you don't know. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, these kinds of drinks. Where does it lead you to? Diabetes, heart problems. You can't wake up. You eat that kind of food. You can't wake up for Fajr. You can't wake up for Tahajjud. Look at the food of the Prophet ﷺ. Dates, milk, water, melon, pumpkin. Natural foods connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The closer it is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the natural form, that's the food you'll find the Prophet ﷺ eating. Best of food. Because we know in Islam the food you eat will impact your soul. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayh, a goat was stolen in his village where he used to live. He stopped eating goat's meat for 40 years. Stopped. 40 years didn't eat goat's meat. Why? They asked him why. He said, because I don't want the meat of that stolen goat to enter into my stomach and affect my ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though for him it would be halal, he didn't know, he didn't steal it. If somebody had stolen it and they slaughter that animal and feed it to their guest, the sin is upon them, it's not the guest that's sinful. But no, he sees that this flesh now has haram in it, it will impact my ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the dunya is going towards that way, towards Jahannam. Yeah. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-Bashir wal-Nadhir, he is the giver of glad tidings and a warner. He is trying to direct us towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards goodness. Time of the Dajjal, end of time, most people will follow him. They'll be tricked by him. What does Dajjal mean? It means to cover something over, to make something look like something it isn't. It's the way of the Dajjal. And that's the day and age that we are living in today. It's made to look beautiful, have relationships with whoever you want to, buy whatever car you want, we'll give you a loan, we'll take your life, you'll become a slave of the bank for the rest of your life. But you can have whatever car you want, whatever house you want, whatever clothes you want, take out a loan, borrow more money than you can afford to ever pay back. That's not the way of the Prophet ﷺ. He used to live within his means ﷺ. He used to come in his house and he used to ask Sayyidatuna Aisha radiallahu anha, Ya Aisha, what is there for food today? And she would say nothing. The Prophet ﷺ would say, then I'm fasting. What would we do? We'd get angry. We'd take out a loan, borrow money from somewhere else, and go and get whatever we want. The way of the Prophet ﷺ is simplicity. Living within your means, living within the boundaries of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with. So the whole of the dunya is going towards that way, Jahannam. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the only way that will take you towards Jannah. Your choice. Either you can have Jannah here and Jahannam there, or you can have difficulty here, prison here, and you can have Jannah there. That's the choice. So when we're going through these lessons, the intention is, and we don't have that much time, only 4 sessions. The intention is we revive our connection with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We try and reconnect with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Seriously, our children, especially in the West, are in a great threat. They are bombarded with the dunya and the people of the dunya, ahl al-dunya. Football stars and film stars and pop stars and TV show programs and all of these individuals. They're constantly being shown these people, and they're praised and they're respected. Their names are on posters. People dress like them. Parents talk about them in the house. And they don't know about Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Do a comparison, seriously, in your household. كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Every one of you is a shepherd, and you are responsible for your flock. Especially the men, on the Day of Judgment, Allah will bring you with your family, you and your family. And the first people to take account of you will be your family, not your enemies. Your enemies won't come and say, Ya Allah, he did this and he did that and he did. No, your wife, your children, your grandchildren, they'll be the first. And you know what they will say? They'll say, Oh Allah, he did not wake us for salah. Oh Allah, he didn't teach us salah. Oh Allah, he didn't provide us with halal. These kinds of, if you did good, alhamdulillah, they will mention that. But if you didn't fulfill your rights, the first people to take from you will be those that are closest to you. You are responsible. Men, be men. Don't let anything enter into your house. Don't let your children just watch any old program on the iPad or play any old game on the iPad. You know, there's cartoons in which they show cartoon characters stepping on pages of the Quran. Fact, can show it to you. There are games in which they have Qur'ans on the shelf and you have to shoot those books. You think this is a joke? We're just going to sit back and let this happen in our houses. We're going to be that stupid and foolish. You know, things which our Sahaba al-Kiram, greatest of creations, gave their life to preserve and protect. And we're going to allow this kind of filth into our house. We need to wake up. We need to be men. And a man is one who takes responsibility. The one who teaches his family that which is most beneficial for them. That which takes his family and guides them towards Jannah. It's a difficult journey. Why are you called a shepherd? Because you will come across wolves. Your family will be a threat. You are the protector. Don't you be the enemy that brings these things into the household and destroys your family in the first place. Because Allah will hold you to account for it. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Tahrim, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. That, oh, you who believe, if you believe, this is not for everybody. It's not an easy ride. Oh, you who believe in Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Quran, save yourself and your family from the fire of hell. The direct command to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Save yourself and your family from what? The fire of hell. Its fuel is what? Stones and men. That's the fuel of the fire of hell. And it has strong, fierce angels who do not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do whatever Allah has commanded them to do. That's the command. When is Asr? Sorry? Quarter past or quarter to?
Is the Azan at quarter past or Asr is at quarter past? Azan.
Quarter past one. What we'll do is we'll continue for another 10-15 minutes, and then inshallah we'll have a break if people need to refresh their wudu and then get ready for Asr. So as I was mentioning, that the role and the responsibility of the family, and especially the men, is to save themselves and their family from the fire of hell. Now, I want this session to be practical. We don't just want to talk and then people listen and then they go home and there's no change. That'd be a waste of your time and my time. And time is the most precious thing you have. You can't buy it on eBay or Amazon. You can't buy more time. As the poet said, وَالْوَقْتُ أَنْفَسُ مَا عُنِيتَ بِحِفْظِهِ وَأَرَاهُ أَسْهَلَ مَا عَلَيْكَ يَضِيعُ. If you lose your car, you can buy another car. You lose gold, you can buy that back, you can get it back. You lose a jewel, lose anything of this dunya, you lose a shirt, you lose something beloved to you, you can bring it back. Time, every second that goes, you're getting closer to your grave. It's gone, you can't bring it back. Even if a fool wanted to sell you some of his time, and if it could be sold, some fools would sell it. You could not buy 5 minutes from somebody else. 5 minutes, never mind a year. You can't. So unless we change when we spend our time, you're placing your greatest investment right now in this lesson. Yeah. You're giving your time. Financially it's free, but you're giving what's even more precious than your wealth. You're giving your time. Now if you go away without taking anything and changing, you're the greatest of losers. So the first thing when we're looking at the family of the Prophet ﷺ, and we're going to go into some of the narrations of the family of the Prophet ﷺ, is we need to take an account of our life in the house. You need a piece of paper and you need to look at your house. Because sometimes we can forget. You need a picture of your house on a piece of paper that you can look at. You're a manager, you're a shepherd, you're responsible. You need to look at what's good in that house and what good is taking place and what harm is taking place in that house. What's bad? And you need to increase the good and you need to reduce the bad. Step number 1. If we look at salah, that قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, are we praying salah? You cannot command your children to pray salah if you're not praying it yourself. That's hypocrisy. And your children will hate the religion if you treat them like that. They won't hate you. They will hate the religion. Because they will feel an injustice. Look at him, he doesn't pray himself. She doesn't pray herself. Mommy and daddy don't pray, they tell him need to pray. They're forcing me to do something. Your children will naturally love what they see you doing. You don't even need to tell them. You don't need to tell them pray salah. If growing up your children see you praying salah, they will love salah. Children as young as 3 and 4 in our houses know how to use phones and tablets, don't they? Is that correct? They can open up a phone, they can go onto YouTube, they can go onto games. 3 and 4-year-olds. Where did they learn that from? They're not born with that. The doctors and nurses don't inject them with a smartphone, iPhone or Samsung injection, do they? Huh? No. They see you, they copy you, they follow. So it's simple. If you want them to pray, what's the best way to make them pray? You pray. Easy. So step number 1 is we need to take an account. The Prophet ﷺ, after Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anhuma got married. MashaAllah, what an amazing marriage, huh? Subhanallah. When they got married, for the next 6 months, the Prophet ﷺ used to pass by their house and remind them about salah. Sayyidina Ali needs reminding about salah, radiallahu anhu. Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha needs reminding about salah. And the Prophet ﷺ, look at the Prophet ﷺ. He didn't remind them to go to work. He didn't remind them, have you made sure you've got enough money? Are you saving money? Are you making sure you've got money so you can buy a bigger house now? Salah. 6 months, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was doing that to leave behind a sunnah for us. They didn't need that reminder, Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anhuma. They didn't miss a single salah. And the one that was missed in obedience of the Prophet ﷺ, even that wasn't missed by the karamah of the Prophet ﷺ. Sayyidina Ali, for those who don't know the narration, may not have heard the narration, one of the most amazing narrations. The Prophet ﷺ is resting in the lap of Sayyidina Ali karamallahu wajhul kareem. It's time for Asr. And Salatul Asr is about to finish. The sun is about to go down. Sayyidina Ali still hasn't prayed. He doesn't want to move because he doesn't want to disturb the Prophet ﷺ. Allahu Akbar. And tears start rolling down his eyes because he's missing salah. Falls on the blessed face of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ wakes. Ask Sayyidina Ali, what is the matter? He says, Ya Rasulullah, I haven't prayed my Asr. The sun is about to go down, I'm about to miss it. The Prophet ﷺ gives ishara, the sun returns back to its place. Doesn't miss his salah. This is how much they followed and loved the Prophet ﷺ. And so the Prophet ﷺ leaves behind a sunnah for us. The number 1 thing that we need to sort out in our house is salah. Do an account of salah in your house, please. Number 1. Am I praying? Is my wife praying? Are my children praying? And the ruling of fiqh is what? That if you do not pray salah, as a man, this is about men. Yeah? If you do not pray salah, and your family do not pray salah, you are sinful for you missing salah, you're sinful for your family missing your salah as well. Yeah? So 5 people in your household, including you, you don't pray salah. You miss fajr. Your wife doesn't pray, your 3 children don't pray. You have the sin of 5 salahs on your head. Every salah. Times that by 5. One day, 25 salahs on your neck. Your wife doesn't pray. How many salahs is she responsible for? 1. Just hers. And then women say that men have it easy. I often say that if men were able to, we would hand over the role of responsibility to the wife and say, you know what, I'll do the cooking, I'll do the ironing, I'll do the cleaning, you stand before Allah on the Day of Judgment. Let's swap.
Excuse me, one question.
Lovely.
If I tell for example, if I tell my son to pray, and he's still...
Are you married?
Eh? No.
I was going to say, I got worried, mashallah.
If I got a son,
You look like a son, mashallah.
If I got a son,
Yeah.
or if my father tells me to pray, and I don't pray, is it still his fault?
MashaAllah, very, very good question. Yeah? If the father is fulfilling his responsibility, and he is doing what he should do, then he is not responsible. The example is what? Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam. His son didn't follow him. Didn't follow him. He was drowned. Is Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam responsible? No. No, he tried, he called him, he advised him, didn't listen. And this is why Allah gives us those examples. This is why the Quran is so amazing. All of the difficulties that you may face in your life, all the scenarios you can ever think of, the Prophets lived them scenarios before us. The Prophet ﷺ lived those difficulties. The Prophet ﷺ lived the life of an orphan. The Prophet ﷺ lived the life of a person whose wife passes away before him. He lost his children in his time. He suffered hunger. He suffered illness, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's the greatest example. You can follow me. So if we're talking about those fathers who don't pray themselves. So the first thing we need to correct in our household is salah. Salah for the believer and his soul is like air and water for the body. The Muslim cannot survive without salah. This is what we call a non-negotiable. There are certain things within our family routine that we need to set up in our families as non-negotiables. This is not up for negotiation and discussion. Is breakfast, lunch and dinner up for negotiation? Is there ever a day in your house when your family does not eat? Is going to the bathroom up for negotiation? Is there ever a day where you can say to your body, you know what, today I'm not going to the bathroom. I'm not going. Today I'm not going to breathe. Today I'm not going to drink water. Is that something you can negotiate with your body? Will your body listen if you say that? That's what you call non-negotiables. They are things that you have to do, you don't have a choice. There's not even a discussion, there's just no leeway out of it. Not possible. If you don't feed your child in a day, social services will come and take your child. Absolute basic rights, they need to be fed. Yeah. So likewise, salah, non-negotiable. How can we say, I can make time 3 times a day to go to the bathroom, but I don't have time for salah? I can make time 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day to eat. I can have breakfast, I can have lunch, I can have dinner, and I can have snacks in between. I can make time for food. I can make time for the bathroom. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I can't make time for salah. Okay. I can make time for Facebook, YouTube, television, internet. Islam is a life of balance. Islam does not say don't have fun. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. And don't forget your portion from this dunya. We're made from this earth, and we have an inclination. Allah has placed that inclination for entertainment and enjoyment. Islam says that. Islam is beautiful. Islam would never deny you that which is your right. Yeah? Islam says have fun. You're going to go through the narrations of the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ used to have races with Sayyidatuna Aisha radiallahu anha. So have races. He used to joke with them. He used to play with his children. Beautiful book. Kashf al-Mahjub. Sayyidina Ali al-Hajwiri rahmatullah alayhi. He has a narration in there of the Prophet ﷺ in his Hujra al-Sharifa. And the Prophet ﷺ, Sayyidina Umar is the narrator. What does he see? He enters the Hujra al-Sharifa. Sayyidina Imam Hussein is on the back of the Prophet ﷺ. And he has a string which he's holding in his hand. The other end of the string is in the mouth of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ is pretending to be a camel. And Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiallahu anhu is riding on this camel. And Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu says to Sayyidina Imam Hussein, what a beautiful camel you have. And the Prophet ﷺ says to Sayyidina Umar, you know what he says? He says, what a beautiful rider I have. That's the Prophet ﷺ. That's how you build bonds with your children and your family. If we were to take a picture of the household of the Prophet ﷺ, you would see the Prophet ﷺ helping his wives. You'd see the Prophet ﷺ smiling with his family. You'd see the Prophet ﷺ playing with his children and his grandchildren. You'd see the Prophet ﷺ spending time with his family. Now take a picture of your house. Compare it with the house of the Prophet ﷺ. Do we spend more time with our phones and our devices than we do with our families? If we do, then there's a big problem. Big problem. Do we serve our parents? Do we go and show our children how to serve our parents? Because if you don't serve your parents, don't expect your children to serve you, because they will copy your behavior. If you neglect your parents, you don't visit your parents, you don't speak to your parents, you don't call your parents, how will your children deal with you? They won't visit you, they won't care about you, they won't ask about you, they won't call you. The Prophet ﷺ says, بِرُّوا آبَاءَكُمْ تَبَرَّكُمْ أَبْنَاؤُكُمْ. Be good to your parents, your children will be good to you. Because children learn by behavior, what you display to them. The Prophet ﷺ, daughters. Unfortunately, in some of our communities, it's embarrassing to say, when a daughter is born, it's seen as a calamity. Instead of saying, Alhamdulillah, MashaAllah, Mabruk, we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The daughter of the Prophet ﷺ said, Fatima, she was the beloved of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said, Fatima tu minni. The Prophet ﷺ described her as fildatu kibadi Rasulillah. So she was a piece of the liver of the Prophet ﷺ, which is the seat of emotion. The Prophet ﷺ says, whatever pleases Fatima radiallahu anha pleases me. And whatever displeases Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha displeases me. Prophet ﷺ was absolutely in love with his daughters. He loved his daughters immensely. Look how he used to behave, the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Just imagine if Muslim families behave like this. Just going back to the point of parents, there are certain countries, Japan, where elderly people, because their children do not visit them, they hire university children to come and sit with them and talk to them. In fact, recent BBC article, adults in Japan are committing crimes so that they can go to jail, so they have somebody to spend time with. This is not made up stories. Imagine if the world could see how to treat their parents through the lives of Muslims. It would be the greatest example. People would use us as an example. You know, when we talk generally around the world, we say the Japanese, mashallah, look how civilized they are. Our brother Riaz Mukashi from India, who was just with us, he had to leave. He travels often to Japan, and he says they're very systematic, very organized. People there don't break traffic laws. They're very respectful. Those kinds of things. They talk about that. If only people in the world, they would use Muslims as an example of how to treat parents, how to treat children, how to treat wives. Because it's there in Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We've got no excuse. We have the greatest example. So, just finishing, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha used to enter into his presence. Now again, just compare this with yourself. How are you with your children? Yeah? When Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha used to enter into the house and he used to see her, he used to stand up. He used to take her hand, he used to kiss her hand and make her sit where he was sat sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now you tell me which father treats his daughter like that, and then when the daughter reaches teenage years or adulthood, she goes away and runs away with another man. Or doesn't listen to the father, doesn't respect the father, doesn't care about the father, doesn't listen to the father. If we place love in our children's heart from a young age, then when they become adults, they will have love for us. And what did Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha used to do when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to enter? What do our children do when we enter the house as parents? Do they change? Do they acknowledge you? Or are their heads still stuck in televisions and smartphones? Yeah. Or as one scholar calls them, stupid phones. They're not smartphones. Huh? One of the scholars, he said, we live in a day and age of smartphones and stupid people. Do your children respond when you walk into the house? Because this is adab. If you look traditionally in Islam, our parents, how did they used to behave with our grandparents? Or grandparents with great-grandparents? You know, if you look at traditional systems in Somalia, do we have any elders here from Somalia? Can we have any hands up? How are the elders treated in Somalia? How do you treat your parents? Stand up. So when your father would come in, you would stand up, huh? MashaAllah. You'd kiss his hand. Allahu Akbar. Sunnah. Where's that gone now? Ihtiram, ta'zeem. Where's that gone? That's love. Yeah? How can it be that the father who sacrifices his nights, sacrifices his days, he sacrifices his happiness, his joy, his recreation for his family, father walks in, no response, no change, no... Where's the adab gone? Where's the ihtiram? Where's the ta'zeem? The Prophet ﷺ, when he used to walk in, Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha used to stand up. She used to take him by the hand, kiss his hand, and she used to make him sit where she was sat, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahu Akbar. Just make a video of your house and just imagine yourself being treated like that by your children. How would you feel? Ask your children to describe how it would feel to them if when they walked into the house they were welcomed by their parents with love and affection and a hug and a kiss and asked, how is your day? What did you learn today? How can I help you? Do you have any problems? You can tell me about anything you want. Imagine if you were their best friend. How would they feel? So what we need to do is we need to change our families and we need to realign it with the family and the household of the Prophet ﷺ. Inshallah, we'll stop there, inshallah. If people have any questions or if people need to go and make wudu, we have about 10 minutes. We didn't really get into too much of the details and the descriptions of the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Inshallah, if we have time later, we will go into that. Went off into a bit of a tangent, but alhamdulillah, inshallah.